Manchester City have been targeting a move for Marc Guehi and could accelerate those plans after both Josko Gvardiol and Ruben Dias suffered injuries. But now it's being reported that Arsenal are ready to enter the race for the Crystal Palace captain.
Arsenal were interested in Marc Guehi last summer, but they went in a different direction. Obviously, Mosquera and Nkape, younger players, I guess, and sort of, slightly cheaper in a different budget. But Arsenal are definitely interested in the player. Whether they can do it in this window remains to be seen. Whether they'll bid in this window, which I suspect they probably won't. But if Man City fail to do it in this window, and my word, they're pushing for it hard, aren't they? There will be so many big clubs in for it. Arsenal being one of them, Bayern Munich another. Liverpool, I think, will be very interested again. So it's no surprise to me at all why he is the most sought after, most talked about transfer target of this January window.
Marc Guehi, future still very much unclear as things stand. We've talked about him right from well before the transfer window even opened. And that is a face which says, I hold all the cards, and he absolutely does. Yeah. But look, we could have chosen a nicer picture of Marc there if you're watching this morning.
Marc Guehi, you're getting a great person as well as a great player. I watched the scenes post-match against Macclesfield Town, and he was talking to the fans. A lot of fans were angry. He does hold the cards, and again, I go back to it. I don't know what Palace get out of selling him really for around 25 million now, because they were fifth a few weeks ago. They're now, I think, around 12th. That's more than £25 million, I think, if the merit money they received. They obviously want to go far and they want to win the Conference League. Then that'll be hard without Marc Guehi.
But, they will surely, Stephen, have the next one in mind, because they've known that this has been coming. And obviously, Maxence Lacroix is a hell of a player as well. He's one that in the summer potentially will be linked with big moves away. They've got Richards who can play there. They've got options. They've got to move away from Guehi. They know his future is not there. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, it is a matter of time. But I think if you're one of the top teams, if you're Liverpool or City, the 25 million, I don't think you approach them with that. I think you go more. I think you just go, you give what they need to get it done to make Palace feel like they're not been taken advantage of to some extent because he's such a talent and that they're getting a reward for it. But to get him out the door now, it's going to have to be more than that value, I think. I don't think they'd sell him for that. I think they'd only sell him for more. Even though his contract's up in the summer, I don't think they'd let him go for 25 million.
But here's the scenario. Aggressive Manchester City come in and say, OK, look, even if it takes 20, 30, and then the player says, well, hold on, I could get half of that in my back pocket as a signing on fee. And they say, well, we'll build that one in as well. That's still probably a bargain for Manchester City, bearing in mind, if he had a 5-year deal still to run, he's worth 80, 90 million?
Yeah, 100%. You look at Van Dijk went for 75. That was how many years ago? Mark Guehi is English international. Revered throughout the league. All the top teams want him, and all the top teams feel like he's the player that can actually set them apart and push them for the title. So, it's a huge deal to try and get him through the door. So I think massively they have to go in for it.
Yeah, good work. About Guehi, he's a bit more defiant. I don't know. What do we read into that from the Austrian?
He's defiant usually in, I don't want him to go, despite his contract situation. He values him so highly as his captain. He's done a remarkable job with Oliver Glasner since he arrived at the club. But that felt a little bit different. It felt like I don't know what the situation is. And ultimately, Crystal Palace, as a club, have a decision to make in terms of, do they let this player go for free in the summer or do they cash in? They could have got £35 million for him in the summer. That deadline day moved to Liverpool, very close to happening before Crystal Palace pulled the plug. They're probably, you're looking at around maybe £25 million could prize him away.
Which is still a bargain, even though he's a free in the summer.
It feels like it's a bargain, but you're talking about a player with just 6 months left on his contract. But the player's also got a decision to make. Does he want to move to a Premier League club? If he does, then it's down to Crystal Palace, do they want to cash in or not? Or does he see his future abroad and in Europe, and if so, he can sign a pre-contract now. As of right now, there's so much interest, the likes of Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, amongst many of the biggest names in Europe interested in Marc Guehi. Unsurprisingly, he's no doubt going to be starting for England in the summer at the World Cup as well. An unbelievable talent that he is. So, look, it's one to watch. It's very interesting, but Manchester City weren't planning on doing much in January. Injuries now to Ruben Dias, out for around 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. Josko Gvardiol, a fractured leg. He'll be out for a number of months. Potentially the end of the season he'll be out for. Is that going to accelerate Manchester City's plans? Does that maybe go into Marc Guehi's head and go, hold on a minute, Manchester City,
Yeah.
not a bad move. What would you do if you're Mark Guehi, Dan?
I think Manchester City are going to add in the summer centre-half position anyway. I think John Stones and Nathan Ake are up. I don't know whether they're going to get offered a new contract.
They can't stay fit as well, though, can they? That's the problem.
No, that's the trouble. I think they play so many games. So Mark Guehi will probably looking at it and going, if you move into the Premier League, it's Liverpool, Manchester City. I don't see there's no space at Arsenal with their recruitment recently. I don't see Chelsea being at the level for Mark Guehi right now.
But give us the insight really from a player's point of view here, Dan, because and I don't want to talk about the nasty stuff, money, but it talks, and I know he's not a money-motivated guy, and who knows about the guys looking after him. But ultimately, if it's waiting till the summer, you know, there's a lot of money going in that back pocket, isn't there? As a free transfer, potentially as much as what someone might pay in
For his
in this
agent
window.
as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
is that going to persuade him potentially to stay? And on top of that, do you just not disrupt what has been working so well for you, as James says, in a World Cup year? Stay at Palace, start every game, go to the World Cup with England, make the decision in the summer, or is City too tempting?
The beauty of it, Mark Guehi is holding all the cards right now. He can basically choose where he wants to go. The money is there in January from Manchester City, probably. I think Liverpool have something to say about it as well. Like you say, it is still a bargain, but 6 months' time is obviously a free. But then you have to pay the sign-on fee anyway, so it's a caveat. It all depends what Mark Guehi wants for me. Whether he wants a new challenge abroad or he wants to get it done now. I think he's on the plane regardless. Whether he goes to Man City now and plays 10 games, he's on the plane.
Yeah.
I think he's done enough. I think he's probably going to start for England in that World Cup.
100%.
So yeah, it all depends what he wants. It depends what Steve Parish wants. If Steve Parish wants the 20, 25 million, what they're going to get, then you do it. I think if Palace were going for Champions League, I think there'll be a different conversation. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We need Champions League football. I don't think they're going to get there.
Yeah, and he's not actually cup tied for Champions League, even though he's played in the Conference League because of the
and possibly they're probably not going to get the Europa League as well. Their form has dipped considerably in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So the time might be right for all parties.
Let's bring in Reece, our Palace fan, who's sitting there patiently thinking, what are these guys talking about? Come on, Reece. I mean, look, you don't care about Manchester City, you care about Crystal Palace. What's the best thing for Palace now to keep him? Because, 5-6 places in the Premier League, it's not much different to 15, 20 million quid, is it?
Well, this is it. I think 35 million is not anywhere near enough to let him go. I think if Man City got him in this transfer window, it'd have to be a substantial figure. I think for us, he was still in the Conference League. We're still fighting our way up the table. We're still in the FA Cup. I think those positions mean so much more to us than 35, 40 million as a club.
Steve Parish feel that way, do you think?
Well, he had the opportunity to do it in the summer, and I'm glad that he came to his senses. I think those things as a football club for the size of Palace, they don't really come around that often. Being FA Cup winners and playing in Europe and maybe having a chance to go on and play in the Europa League next year, possibly. I think those things happen really rarely, never. So if you've got an opportunity to push on and keep hold of your best players and not risk trying to gamble, trying to find a replacement, you have to double down there.
Reece, would you be disappointed if he goes in this